Hello and welcome to the Philippines. In this video, we're going to talk about condos versus homes, townhomes. And we're going to talk a little bit about the costs and better places to live, places you might not want to live. And we're going to talk about the safety associated with those types of decisions as well. So first, let's get into the costs. First, a couple guidelines. Number one, you need to know what your guaranteed income is. Hopefully, you've got a fair amount of savings to cover emergencies, and if you have to have a plan B or C, we've talked about that in other videos. The experts say you should only spend about 30% of your net take-home income on housing each month. So figure that out. I suggest that when you come to a foreign country, you should aim towards the lower end of that until you understand your situation, your other costs involved. And I'm going to do this video as I take a hobble, a motorbike taxi ride from uptown Cebu City over to see a bedridden friend over in Mandaue City along the way. Now, there are basically three types of expats. There are those who are on a very tight budget. There are those on a medium-sized budget. That includes myself. We can live comfortably. These are new condominiums going up. I think 3 condominium towers, 1 commercial. City Clow. I've done videos there at their models. 6 months ago, something like that, and the tall buildings over there, Horizon 101. I've done condominiums. I've done many videos there, probably 5 or 6 over the years. And I've got many dozens of videos up about condominiums. I have a playlist of condominiums and homes, subdivisions, if you want to check that out. What do you get? What does it cost? How are they furnished? How are they furnished? All that type of information. I also have a couple membership levels if you want to help support the channel. Down in the lower left-hand corner and then in the first comment of every video, PayPal and Buy Me a Coffee, a couple other ways to support the channel as well. And then there's those who have a pretty high income, number of maybe more than one pension. They made good investments. They've got a lot of money in the bank. Spianata condominiums there we were just looking at. I've done videos in there, and those people can kind of pick and choose what they want. Now, many of us, generally speaking, if you're going to rent a house, and we're talking renting primarily, rent a house, you get more space for your money. Now, these will be affected by your regional areas, but generally you can get a lot more house than you can. Especially 10, 12 years ago in the Philippines, these developers trying to fit more people into the same space started downsizing condominiums. So what you get, 22 square meters, 240 square feet for a studio, is a lot less than you used to get 10, 12 years ago. And prices have been going up substantially as well. Cebu City Loft 1 there, condominiums. I've done video there. They are not. They don't have any lofts, even though they're called lofts. They don't have any lofts in there. I've done a video or 2 in there as well. A quick way to compare prices is to figure out what's the cost per square meter. Everything is metric over here, so square meters. And if you multiply by 10, that will give you a pretty close idea of what the square feet are. The square feet would be just a little more than the multiplying by 10. So 22 square meters, 220, maybe 240 square feet, something like that. Good way to measure that. But of course, you're going to be looking at your neighborhood, your amenities, how convenient the area is, perhaps. And one of the reasons I decided to do this, I come across a couple of expat videos on different islands where they had issues with thieves coming in and stealing from the family. Even one case at gunpoint, masked men at gunpoint. This is IT. This is Cebu Business Park, where Big Ayala Mall is in Cebu City, and several condominiums over in this area. I've done several videos in there. Another factor that you'll be looking at in cost, if the owner of the house or condominium recently bought that at the top of the market, say in 2019 before the government lockdowns, they need to get a higher rent to get their return on investment than somebody like who I'm renting from, who bought in pre-selling many years ago when they had a very low initial cost, so they can afford to rent at a lower price, and I negotiated a lower price. In that case, you might have people who have had, because of the government lockdowns primarily, who have, and the competition, so many new units opening up, they may negotiate and offer a lower price. There again, depends on what you get. For that lower price, you may get very few furnishings or poor furnishings as well. I looked at 6 different units in the building I'm in now before I finally found one that had decent furnishings for the price. Ayala Mall over there, Park Point, and Alcoves there to the left. So as far as costs, you can find, especially you get out of the city, you can find houses, and you will find, only in the bigger cities will you find condominiums. Smaller towns, you might find apartments, not condominiums, not high-rise condominiums. But houses, if that house is in a subdivision with amenities, but anyway, you can find a house. I've had many people comment that they're renting a house for 5,000 pesos, less than $100 a month, out in the province someplace. Is that in a guarded, a secure subdivision, or just on a street? There was a guy years and years ago, Mike, one of the first guys I started watching when I was back in the States, 2014, 15. Mike Philippine my Philippine journey was at his channel. He lived in one of these houses that was just on a regular street, and one morning they woke up. They had been broken into. The thieves had climbed up on the roof to the second story where their bedroom was. They had cut the screen, and they've gone in, stolen laptop, a number of different things, and they didn't know until they woke up in the morning. Apparently that had happened before.
Amazing Philippines.
These guys saw my camera. They go, "What's your vlog name?"
Amazing Philippines.
You can also find prices. You can find the condominiums that are larger, 2-3 bedroom penthouse. A lot of these condominiums have penthouse units. Oftentimes the owner, Taft Eastgate condominiums just to the right there, Landers Superstore like a Costco across the street to the left, SM Mall down that direction. Here in Cebu City has a lot of the things that make it convenient. But as I was saying, you can find rentals, condominiums, and as well as houses from the very low monthly cost to very high, extremely high. You go into the very nice subdivisions, and you're looking at over 100,000 pesos, 100,000, even up 200,000 pesos per month for the rentals. Huge, very nice houses if you're in that budget group. Safety, lifestyle, and location. Now, I've said in other videos, many expats, they come here, they've had an online relationship with some girl, and they move to the location. They move to the island and the area where the girlfriend's, boyfriend's family lives. And I've talked before about be aware of the risks in those areas with recent typhoons and storms. Is it a low-lying area that is subjected to flooding? You don't need a typhoon to have some major issues there. Sarosa Hotel there to the left, they've got condominium type apartments as well. I've done videos in there. I have lived here 9 years in the Philippines, 3 trips, 9 years, and I've lived in 6 different condominiums in 4 different areas of Cebu City. So I'm a little bit familiar, plus doing all the dozens and dozens of videos of condominiums. And location is important. Amenities. What I've found is that your security depends upon the security company and development, how strict they are about letting people into condominiums. Generally, I feel the condominium is more about lifestyle and about safety. You've got security there, and a reasonable level of security. They also spray, like I think our place sprays twice a month for pests, for I suppose mice and cockroaches and ants, and very rarely that I see ants here. I've lived in a couple places where I had to deal with them occasionally myself, but safety-wise, if I lived in a house, one concern and not in a subdivision, I would be concerned about if I take a trip, am I going to come home someday and a lot of my valuables will be gone. That's one of my concerns. In most instances, I think you're going to be pretty safe if you're in a subdivision that has 24-hour security. And I visited a few of those, and I think they generally do pretty well. I've got a friend, in fact, the place I'm going to, it's townhouses, and they're supposed to have 24-hour guard, but 90% of the time there is no guard there. The gate is open. There is no guard. In fact, we'll be driving into the area, and in fact, this particular visit, I walked right by the guard. They didn't look up from their phone. So security can be different levels of security, put it that way. It depends on where you're going to be. But if you lived in a house, you rented a house on a street, even though all these houses got big walls and gates and barbed wire up along the top or glass shards, it's easy enough for somebody to throw a blanket, a rug over that and climb up and over that. Not difficult at all at night when almost everybody is sleeping. The video I watched yesterday was a bit eye-opening and troubling. I think it was over on Leyte. I don't remember if they ever said, but they're not only building a house next to the family out in the country, but he also has bought land with his wife, I think, and rice farming. And they had, when they were gone, they had I think 3 armed men, he said, that came into the mother's and auntie's house, and big new Mandawi foam furniture store there. And at gunpoint, they robbed them of a laptop and some of the cash that they had. Ole's, kind of a dance club there, Ole's, O-L-E-S. So the concern, of course, is especially if you're not in a gated community, there could be issues depending upon the region. There again, some areas are much safer in the Philippines than others. Generally, Filipinos, my experience is that they're friendly, they're honest, and they even look out for you. As in my many walks, and I walk a lot, I've had people ask for directions early on. Sir, you shouldn't go in that area or this area, and yet I've been in those areas many, many times and generally feel very safe. Even there, I've had the people that other people think are questionable. I've had those people look out for me. Tell me, look, be careful of snatchers, sir, pickpockets. And you need to be aware of your surrounding. I presently live in a condominium, got a great view. Some of you have seen my videos off my balcony, over 20 stories high. And the noise can get to be irritating at times. The dogs, the loud motorbikes, the roosters don't bother me too much. But down that way is the new SMJ Center Mall. It used to be Immigration down there, and that is open now. As a matter of fact, much different than it used to be. What I suggest if you're going to move into an area out in a different island, province, uh, talk to the locals. Find out about the area. Find out about the crime. Do they feel safe? Are there a lot of robberies and thefts? Um, a lot of the places are indeed very safe here in the Philippines, and so much to offer. Filipinos friendly, speak English, many of them. But you want to check out the areas for all the different risks. Is it prone to the storms, to the flooding, to typhoons, to thievery, the NPA, the armed wing of the Communist Party. And here we're going to turn into this little subdivision here. It's not a subdivision; it's a townhouse development. And he's going to drive in there, and you get a little bit of look. I think they're paying 15,000 for a two-story, 15,000 pesos a month, less than 300 US dollars. Not a bad place at all. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Comment, and we'll see you in the next video.